This is Too Many Daves.
By Dr. Seuss. Hope you enjoy.
Did I ever tell you that Mrs. McCabe had 23 sons and she all named them Dave?
Well, she did. And that wasn't a very smart thing to do. You see, when she wants one, she calls, "Ooh, come into the house, Dave." She didn't get one. All 23 Daves come on the run. This makes things quite difficult at the caves. As you can imagine, there's so many Daves.
And often she wishes that when they were born,
She had named one of them Walking and Horn. And one of them Hoos Foos and one of them Snim. One of them Hot Shot, one Sunny Jim.
and one of them Shadrach,
And one of them Linky. And one of them Stuffy. One of them Stinky.
another one Putt-Putt, another one Moonface,
Another one Marvin O'Gruff and Balloonfish. And one of them Ziggy and one of them Soggy Mom. One Buffalo Bill, one Buffalo Buff.
and one of them Sneepy,
And one of them Leafy Leaf. And one of them Harris Garters. And one of them Harris Tweed.
and one of them Sir Michael Carmichael Zut.
And one of them Bolivar Button. And one of them Zembar Buck McFay. But she didn't do it, and now it's too late. Zax by Dr. Seuss. One day, making tracks in a pair of tracks came a north-going Zack and a south-going Zack. And it happened that they both found a place where they bumped. There they stood, foot to foot, face to face. Look here now, the north-going Zack said. I say you are blocking my path, you are running my way. I'm a north-going Zack. I always go north. Get out of my way now and let me go forward.
Who's in whose way?
Snapped the south-going Zack.
I always go south making south-going tracks, so you're on my way and I ask you to move and let me go south of my south-going groove.
I'm going Zack's puffed his chest up with pride. I never, he said, take a step to one side, and I'll prove to you that I won't change my ways if I have to keep standing here for 59 days.
And I'll prove to you
Yelled the south-going Zack.
that I can stand here in the prairie of Parks for 59 years, for I live by the rule that I learned as a boy. Never budge, that's my rule. Never budge to the east, not an inch to the west, not an inch to the east. I'll stand here not budging, I can, and I will. If it makes you and me and the whole world stand still.
Well, of course the world didn't stand still. The road grew. In a couple of years, the new highway came through and built it right over those two stubborn Zacks and left them there, standing unbudged in their tracks. To Gertrude McFuzz.
There once was a girl named Gertrude McFuzz, and she had the smallest plain feather that ever was.
One droopy, droppy tail, that's all that she had, and oh, that one feather made Gertrude so sad.
For there was another young bird that she knew, a fancy young birdie named Walaloo.
And instead of one feather behind, she had two.
Poor Gertrude, whenever she happened to spy,
Miss Walaloo flying by in the sky.
She got very jealous. She frowned and she pouted.
then one day she got awfully mad and shouted,
This isn't fair. I have one. She has two. I must have a tail like Walaloo.
So she flew to her uncle, a doctor named Dake, whose office was high in a tree by the lake, and she cried,
Uncle Doctor, oh please, do you know of some kind of pill that will make my tail grow?
Tut, tut, said the doctor. Such talk are absurd. Your tail's just right for your kind of bird.
Then Gertrude had tantrums, he raised such a din, then finally her uncle, the doctor, gave in.
and he told her just where she could find such a pill on the pillberry vine on top of a hill.
Oh, thank you.
Chipper Gertrude mouth says, and she flew right straight to the hill where the pill was grew.
Yes, there was a vine, and as soon as she saw it, she started to gnaw it.
It tasted just awful, almost made her sick, but she wanted that tail, so she swallowed it quick.
Then she felt something happening. She felt a small twitch.
As if she'd been trapped right down by a switch.
Then Gertrude cheered, and she cheered. It was true.
Two feathers.
Exactly like Walaloo.
Then she got an idea.
Now I know what I'll do. I'll grow a tail better than Walaloo. These pills that go feathers are working just fine.
So she nibbled another one off of the vine.
She felt a new twitch.
Then Gertrude yelled.
Wee, Miss Walaloo has two, and I have three. When Miss Lolly says this beautiful stuff, she'll fall right down on her face, sure enough. I'll show her who's pretty, I certainly will, but I'll make my tail even prettier still.
She snatched up those berries that grew on the vine.
She got one down.
4,
5,
6,
7,
8.
9.
Her
Wait.
on Gertrude McFuzz. And she didn't stop eating on Gertrude McFuzz till she ate it.
Till she ate in 3 dozen.
That's all that there was. They popped out.
With a zing.
With a zing.
They blossomed like flowers that bloomed in the spring.
A flip for a queen.
What a sight to behold.
They sparkled like diamonds, gumdrops, and gold.
Like silk.
Like spaghetti.
Like sand.
Like lace.
They burnt starlight rockets all over the place.
They waved in the air, they swished in the breeze.
And some were as long as the branches of
And they
trees.
still kept growing.
Until long about sundown, and finally they stopped.
And now,
Gertrude.
the next thing to do is to fly straight home and show Lolly Lou. When Miss Lolly sees this, why her face will turn red, she'll let out a scream and she'll fall right down dead.
Then she spread out her wings to take off the ground. But with all those feathers, she weighed 90 pounds.
She yanked and she pulled and she let out a squawk.
But that bird couldn't fly, couldn't run.
Couldn't walk.
And all through the night, Gertrude McFuzz was stuck on that hill.
And she might be stuck up there still.
If her good Uncle Dick heard the Euro yelp,
She rushed to her rescue and brought along some help.
To lift her up and almost broke all their beaks.
and to fly her back home.
It took almost 2 weeks.
It took almost another week more.
To pull out those feathers.
My Gertrude was sore.
And finally, when the pulling was done,
Gertrude behind her again had just one.
And that one little feather she had as a starter, but now that's enough because
And
now
she
she
is
is smart.
Big Breath by Dr. Seuss. Hope you enjoy our show. The rabbit felt mighty important that day on the top of the hill in the summer he lived. He felt so important up there on the hill that he started bragging as animals will. He boasted out loud and he threw out his chest.
Of all the beasts in the world,
It's on.
I'm the best I know. See, even up in the sky, no animal lives is better than I. What's that?
Growled a voice that was terribly gruff.
Now why do you say such ridiculous stuff?
The rabbit looked down and he saw a big bear.
I'm the best of the beasts,
Said the bear.
and so there. You're not.
Snapped the rabbit.
I'm better than you. Pooh!
The bear snorted.
Again, I say pooh. You talk mighty big, Mr. Rabbit. That's true, but how can you prove it? Just what can you do?
Thought the rabbit.
Now what can I do?
He thought and he thought and he finally said,
Mr. Bear, do you see these 2 ears on top of my head? My ears are so keen and so sharp and so fine. No ears in the world can hear further than mine.
The bear grunted. He looked at its ear.
You say they're good,
Said the bear with a sneer.
but how do I know just how far they can hear?
I'll prove.
Said the rabbit.
My ears are the best. You sit there and watch me. I'll prove it by test.
Then he stiffened his ears so he boasted up high and he pointed them straight to the blue of the sky. He stretched his ears open as wide as he could. Shh, I'm listening, he said as he stood. He listened so hard that he started to sweat, and the fur on his ears and his forehead got wet. For 7 long minutes he stood, then he stared, then he said to the bear,
Do you know what I heard? You see that far mountain? It's 9 miles up. There's a fly in that mountain. I just heard it cut. The cock of the fly, sir, is quite hard to hear 9 miles off, but I heard it quite clear. So you see,
said the rabbit.
it's perfectly true that my ears are the best, so I'm better than you.
The bear for a moment just scolded as he sat, for he knew that his ears couldn't hear things like that.
This rabbit
He thought.
made a fool out of me. Now I've got to prove that I'm better than he.
So he said to the rabbit.
You hear pretty well. You can hear 90 miles, but how far can you smell? I'm the greatest of smellers.
He bragged.
See my nose? This nose on my face is the finest that grows. My nose can smell anything both far and near. With my nose, I can smell twice as far as you hear. You can't!
Snapped the rabbit.
I can!
Growled the bear, and he stuck his big nose way high in the air. He wiggled that nose and he sniffed and he snuffed and he wowed that nose and he whiffed and he wowed. For more than 10 minutes he snuffed and he snuffed. Then he said to the rabbit,
I smell far enough.
All right.
said the rabbit.
Come on now and tell me how far it is the smell that you smell.
Oh, I'm smelling a very far smell.
Said the bear.
Oh, I passed the line in the mountain up there, past many and many great mountains beyond, 600 miles more to the edge of the pond. And way out there by the pond, you can't see, is a very small farm on the farm was a tree. On the tree had a branch, on the branch is a nest, a very small nest or 2 tiny as a thread. 2 hummingbird eggs, only half an inch long. But my nose
said the bear.
is so wonderfully strong. My nose is so good that I smell it without fail. The egg on the left is a little bit stale. And that is the thing that no rabbit can do. So you see,
The bear boasted.
I'm better than you. My smell is so keen that it just can't be beat.
What's that? Called the boy so down his feet. The bear and the rabbit got the sound. We saw the worm crawling out of the ground. Now, boys, said the worm, you've been bragging a lot. People think that you're great, but I think that you're not. Not half as good as a fellow like me. You hear and you smell, how far can you see? Now I'm here to prove to you big boasting eyes, your nose and yours aren't as good as my eyes. The little worm cocked his head over the side, and he opened his eyes, and he opened them wide. He looked far away with a strange sort of stare, as if he were burning 2 holes in the air. The eyes of that worm almost popped out of his head. He stared half an hour till his eyelids got red.
That's enough.
Growled the bear.
Tell the rabbit and me, how far did you look and just what did you see?
Well, boys, the worm answered, the look that I took was a look to look farther than you'll ever look. I looked past the ocean way out to Japan, for I can see farther than anyone can. There's no one on earth that has eyesight that's finer. I looked past Japan and I looked across China. I looked across Egypt and took a quick glance at the 2 countries of Holland and France. I looked across England and also Brazil, but I didn't stop there. I looked much further still. And I kept on looking and looking until I looked around the world right on back to this hill. And I saw on this hill who not get so keen, the 2 biggest fools that have ever been seen. And the fools that I saw were none other than